Hey guys, it is MattySports bringing you my Week 3 predictions of the 2014 college football season. Last week in Week 2, I went an average 5-5. I was very surprised of the games. USC upset Stanford, I got that one right, so congratulations to USC. Michigan got shut out by Notre Dame completely. They were just terrible. Texas was probably one of the bigger surprises to me. They completely got blown out by BYU at home. I mean, Texas, I really thought they were going to be good this year, but after that game, I now have second thoughts. And the big upset, Virginia Tech over Ohio State on the road. Congratulations to the Hokies. A great win for the ACC. They went 11-0 that week, while the Big Ten was probably one of their worst weeks ever. And it was just not a good week for the Big Ten, but congratulations to Virginia Tech for that key win. And my upset pick, Iowa State. They lost. They had the lead. They had the chance to win it. They blew it in the fourth quarter. They let me down. So unfortunately, I could not get the upset there, but it was really close. And Michigan State ended up losing to Oregon by about 3 possessions. Michigan State kind of outplayed them in the second quarter, but once it got to the second half, Oregon just pulled away. So congratulations to the Ducks. But that is Week 2. We are on to Week 3 now, and I have 10 more games for you guys. And first up on Thursday night, we have Houston traveling on the road to number 25 BYU. Now, after seeing BYU play against Texas, I think BYU is definitely a legit team this year. They could go undefeated, possibly one loss. Houston's playing them. I think BYU can take care of this easily because they are playing at BYU, and Houston will have to deal with that elevation difference. I think BYU should be able to handle this one pretty easily at home. Next up, we have a pretty interesting non-conference matchup of UCF traveling on the road to number 20 Missouri. Now, Missouri they played South Dakota State and Toledo. They won their games kind of like they should. And UCF has only played one game, and that was against Penn State in Ireland. And UCF lost by a time expiring field goal by Penn State. So it'll be interesting to see how UCF plays against this Missouri team. And because Missouri is at home, I'm going to have to pick Missouri to win this game. So I like Missouri winning this by about 10 points. Next up, we have a very weird non-conference matchup of Kansas at Duke. These two teams are not the best football programs. They're definitely more known for their basketball. But Duke, they were great last year. Duke should be pretty decent this year. And because Duke is at home, I like Duke to win this at home pretty easily. Next up, we have a rivalry game of Iowa State at Iowa. Now, if Iowa State would have won against Kansas State, I would have considered picking them to upset Iowa here. But Iowa at home, they should be way too much for Iowa State. Iowa State let me down, so I'm not going to have any more confidence in them, so I'm going to have to go with Iowa at home. Next up, we have number 6 Georgia traveling on the road to number 24 South Carolina. Now, this game is going to be the first game on CBS this year for the SEC, and this is a very, 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 very key game for the SEC East. In my opinion, if South Carolina is able to pull off this upset, I think the SEC East is wide open. It could be turned to a 4-team race between Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and in my opinion, Tennessee. I think Tennessee's a lot better this year than people think. But I just see, after South Carolina getting beat down by Texas A&M at home 2 weeks ago, I think Georgia can do just the same. I think Georgia's a better team than Texas A&M, so I like Georgia on the road here. Next up, we have another SEC East matchup of Kentucky at Florida. Now, this is also another interesting game for me. I really like Kentucky. I like what Mark Stoops has been doing. I think their program's heading into the right direction. However, Florida, they've only played one game this year because their first game against Idaho got postponed, canceled because of lightning, so they will not be rescheduling that game. So Florida will actually only be playing 11 games this season, which, in my opinion, I think it's kind of stupid because both Florida and Idaho had a bye week. They could have scheduled their game then, but I just think it's personally a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, I like Florida at home. Kentucky, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it close or if they possibly upset, but I think Florida's just way too much offensively and defensively. Next up, we have number 12 UCLA at Texas. Now, this is another interesting game for me. As we all know, UCLA struggled against Virginia. They also struggled again last week. And Texas, they got blown out by BYU. But Texas is at home, but then again, they were at home last week against BYU, and the match wasn't even close. But UCLA, I think a lot of people overhyped them for the preseason, partially including myself. But after seeing how they performed their first two games, it kind of looked a little sluggish, kind of like Florida State. Florida State hasn't really played that well their first two games, and I wouldn't be surprised if Texas is able to upset them at home, but I still see UCLA winning this game on the road. Next up, we have one of my more exciting matchups for this weekend, and that is Tennessee traveling on the road to number 4 Oklahoma. And as I said earlier, I think Tennessee is the dark horse team of the SEC East. After seeing them play their first couple of games, I think they are a legitimate team. But Oklahoma, they've been taking care of business easily. They haven't played anyone like any big games, but it's going to be their first big game of the season, so I'm interested to see how Oklahoma will perform against a SEC team like Tennessee. But in the end, I like Oklahoma to win this game, but I do see Tennessee keeping the match close. I'm not sure if they'll be able to upset them, but I definitely see it by being about a one-possession game going into the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. But I like Oklahoma to win this game. Next, we have my upset special of NC State traveling on the road to South Florida, USF. And I like USF to upset NC State at home. Now, I know this may not be like a major upset, but let's be honest, USF has definitely been on the decline. They're not that great. But after seeing how they played against Maryland last week at home, they almost put off the upset against Maryland. And I definitely like USF's chances to upset NC State. So I'll take USF to upset NC State at home for my upset special. And now we have the game of the week, supposedly, where College Game Day will be traveling to. And just like last year, they traveled to North Dakota State for game day. They're doing it again this year. And it's not going to be a high-quality matchup. They're just doing it to show love for the FCS, I guess, and kind of reward North Dakota State for being dominant in the FCS for like the past 2 or 3 years. And that game is Incarnate Word at North Dakota State. I think I'm saying that right. Incarnate Word. I'm pretty sure it's like a religious school. All I know is that North Dakota State's a beast in the FCS. They continually beat FBS opponents in their schedule for the past 2 years, 3 years. And because it's North Dakota State at home, I think this is an easy pick for me to pick North Dakota State. And I believe Incarnate Word's record is 0-2, so that kind of helps my decision a lot better. So yeah, I like North Dakota State at home. Should be a blowout for the Bison. Anyway, guys, that's been my Week 3 predictions of the 2014 college football season. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about the games I talked about. Again, any other games that I did not list that you guys are interested in, just let me know. And anyway, guys, this has been MattySports, and I'll see you guys next week for Week 4. See you guys then.